one of the fruits of life. Humans are so amazing and unique creatively that the same thing created by two different people tends to not be the same at all. And I've been thinking a lot about creativity recently and how there's creativity in just about everything. From the most mathematic, scientific, technical looking things to the creative and fine arts to fashion to literally anything. I've been reading a book recently called Atomic Habits, and self-help books typically are not my jam, but I cracked it open and I absolutely love it. And there's this quote in the book that says something to the tune of, "You will always overconsume if you see yourself as a consumer rather than a creator." And this came to me at a time when I've been feeling like I have this longing to create something, but nothing feels satiating. I thought about stamp making, t-shirt making. I've recently done ceramics. I thought about getting into that. I like crocheting. I thought about getting into knitting, but none of these felt satiating. I recently tried drawing. Drawing and painting for me had never been something that I used as an emotional release. The process would be really therapeutic, but it didn't offer the same emotional release as, say, journaling. And so I drew an original drawing, and I felt for the first time a bit of an emotional release from drawing that I feel when I do journal. And I started thinking for the first time, as I was sort of showing people my drawing, how truly vulnerable it is to create something and share it with others. For the first time, I was realizing and understanding on a deeper level how beautiful not only the process of creation is, but also the process of sharing what you create and the value specific to that aspect, but also the incredible vulnerability in sharing. It can elicit a lot of self-doubt. Is what I'm doing cool? Am I going to look back on this and cringe? What are others going to think, especially on the internet? There's a lot of vulnerability in sharing a creative project. And personally, I think this is what has steered me away from creative outlets for so long, is the fear of experimenting and regretting it, and being made fun of. And I think this comes from the issue that I have had since I was a kid of wanting to fit in and correlating fitting in with doing what everyone else is doing. I think the issue here is that creativity requires unique, out-of-the-box thinking, whether it be a new way of conceptualizing something or an interesting combination of colors, textiles. I think in a lot of ways, falling into a cycle of wanting to be accepted caused me to turn away from my most creative and unique parts of myself. But alas, no more. I've recently tapped into my creative bone, and I wanted to share a couple of thoughts that have brought me here. First and foremost is that I learned to see the beauty and creativity in things that I previously would have just written off as a dislike and not really analyzed beyond that. The perfect example of this in my life is anime. I have never really seen myself as someone who liked anime much, and I recently was asked to watch a series with my roommate, and I agreed. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and see if there's something in this show that I can take inspiration or see the vision behind. And as I was watching it, I was realizing that there is a really unique and interesting way it cultivates a certain image or vibe for the show, whether that's through music or lighting or storyline or characters and their personalities. And I was able to see and appreciate the creative merit in others' works in a different way. And it felt almost more boiled down and fundamental. And even if something wasn't my personal taste, I was able to view it as a masterpiece in its own right. The next thing I learned that sort of went hand in hand with this is that I oftentimes end up liking things that I initially dislike. Things that I don't like at the moment, I typically will come around to and end up liking later. I've noticed this so much in my life that I'm realizing how counterproductive it can be to label things as a dislike, especially creative things, songs, paintings, styles, and fashion. In this process, I have also learned the unique growing process that creative outlets and sharing creative work particularly can facilitate. Thinking back to vulnerability, I think that this fear of judgment for me comes from the way I have judged others' creative work, whether that be harsh or closed-minded. And I think that while I'm now more able to see the creative merit in things I couldn't before, there's something about putting creative output out there yourself that is so vulnerable. It can be really uncomfortable, but I'm seeing how now more than ever, it can be so important and even potentially freeing, especially for someone like myself that has been so wrapped up in feeling so self-conscious in the past. I think that tapping into my creative side can offer a lesson to me that I wouldn't know of otherwise. And so I created this channel and this video. YouTube has always been something that I was interested in, talking to a camera, vlogging. It never really felt genuine to me. And maybe I'll come around to love it one day and experiment with it. And something that I think is crucial is to find something that really speaks to you instead of merely trying to replicate how things have been done in the past. If we all open ourselves up creatively and are able to add to the creative world in our own ways and accept and see the value of other people's creative output, we will all be better for it. And so here's mine. And I'm completely aware that I may look back on this and cringe, but I had a lot of fun doing it. And if nothing else, I hope that this is a cool video that we can all watch together on mute. Okay, goodbye.